नाम, पता व लाइसेंस नंबर चौकी पोस्ट में अंकित करवा दे तथा जरवा आरक्षित क्षेत्र में फोटोग्राफी व वीडियोग्राफी करना कानूनन अपराध है। जरवा आरक्षित क्षेत्र में ओवरटेक ना करे और ना ही ओवरटेक करने दे। जरवाओं को किसी प्रकार की खाद्य सामग्री जैसे बिस्किट, केला, कपड़ा आदि ना दे। यदि कोई व्यक्ति इन निर्देशों का उल्लंघन करता है तो इसकी सूचना गिरगाटान व मिडिल स्टेट पुलिस चौकी को तुरंत दे। धन्यवाद।
The Andaman Islands are located in the Bay of Bengal, a territory of India. There are hundreds of islands in the region, with white sandy beaches, coral reefs and untouched rainforest. For 60,000 years, way before the settlers arrived, the islands were inhabited by various indigenous tribes. The most mysterious of these being the Jarawas, a small society of hunter-gatherers. Living in a 1,000 square kilometer reservation in the middle of the island, they are considered to be one of the world's most reclusive societies.
कपड़ा उपड़ा नहीं पहनते, उस पत्ती उत्ती बांधते बदन में। आइलैंड में आना, टूरिस्ट लोग आना, जरवा को देखना।
Jarawa means stranger or hostile people in the ancient Akabea Andamanese language. And the tribe is still considered hostile and violent towards outsiders.
तो पहले घर बनाने के लिए, हाउस बनाने के लिए, पत्ती काटने के लिए जंगल में जाते थे। तो जरवा उठ में देखेगा तो मारेगा।
The tribe were promoted as tourist attraction and the concept of human safari started.
I traveled along to the islands to find out if human safaris really exist. The stunning beaches were packed with tourists from all over the world, and even the locals welcomed them with open arms.
जी हाँ, टूरिस्ट आते बहुत अच्छे हैं, यहाँ पे शॉपिंग वॉपिंग करते, घूमते उमते। यहाँ फॉरेनर लोग आने से अच्छा है, जैसे ये बात है, फॉरेनर लोगों को घुमाने मिलता।
But I knew that this is just one side of the story. I met Dennis Giles, who runs the local newspaper, the Andaman Chronicles. Passionate campaigner for the rights of the Jarawa, and had written several shocking articles about the abuse of the tribe by the tourism industry.
If we talk about tourism, yes, we have beautiful beaches, we have coral reefs, but if it is like over exploitation of some particular place, then it is totally bad.
The more I walked around, the more I saw the downside of this holiday paradise. Rubbish was everywhere, and the sewage system was non-existent.
कि टूरिस्ट का वजह से इस तरह कचरा है, तो हेबलोग को कचरा बोलने से नहीं है। हेबलोग का कचरा घर का अगल बगल जला देता। अभी गेस्ट जो जितना भी आता, अभी रिसोर्ट खोला, वो कचरा कहाँ फेंकेगा? सब यहाँ आके फेंकता। इसका जितना गंदा हुआ घर तरफ जाएगा, वो घर के इधर जाएगा, नाक में अंदर जाता, अच्छा नहीं लगता।
Agriculture, fishing and tourism have been the main sources of income for the inhabitants of the islands who settled here after the British colonization. But the waste problem has also started to affect the island's other inhabitants, the Jarawas. There are approximately 400 members of the tribe left, live in a primitive existence, hunting with bow and arrow and fishing with spears. Even though the Jarawas' land is officially a protected nature reserve, tour companies started making money by driving tourists through the area to spot the uncivilized humans. The likes of National Geographic and the Royal Geographic Society have always put tribes on display for the eyes of the Western world, making them tourists in the lives of others. But this type of social exploration is purely exploitive and intrusive. Dennis Giles is fighting against this exploitation.
We have a small organization called Search, so Search and Survival International together, we decided to do a joint campaign so that it is much more effective. Before this campaign started, it was like for the tour operators, it was just money. So they used to advertise in the internet a package like you go to Ross Island, you go to Havelock, you go for the sightseeing and one day visit to the Jarawa area, see the tribes, Stone Age tribes, and they were promoting.
The Jarawa habitat has been a protected nature reserve since 1956. In 2007, the Andaman administration tried to create a 10-kilometer wide buffer zone around the Jarawa tribal reserve, prohibiting commercial and tourist activities in the area. However, the Calcutta High Court quashed the ruling because they only permit reservations and no so-called buffer zones.
क्योंकि यहाँ का आदमी गवर्नमेंट पूरा पालते, पूरा उसका अपना बच्चा को भी बच्चा का जैसा देखते उसको भी.
Everybody believes that the administration is protecting the last 400 Jarawas. But according to Dennis, this is just propaganda. To find out how dangerous it is for the Jarawas to have contact with outsiders, I spoke to SOPHIE GRIG from Survival International.
Disease is a big problem for recently contacted tribes, and the Jarawa have only had any real contact with sort of the mainstream society since 1998, which in terms of the disease and building up immunity is still an incredibly small amount of time. And so that's one of the real worries about having people flocking in every day, tourists going through the reserve, absolutely just not worth the risk.
Human safaris are only possible because of the ATR, the Andaman Trunk Road, the main artery running from north to south right through the Jarawa Reserve. Tourist destinations are in the north of the island, but to reach them, tour operators have to go through the tribe's reserve, the real highlight of the trip.
The Supreme Court had ordered it to be closed 10 years ago. It brings in hundreds of tourists, visitors, and it can prove to be the end of the entire tribe. And when you talk about human safari, till this Andaman Trunk Road is open, the human safaris will continue. Now the administration has made the road legal. Anybody can take his car and just fly on the route. If you want to see the Jarawa, hire a cab and just go.
After hearing all these stories, I couldn't believe it was that easy to visit one of the world's most endangered tribes. I went to the nearest cab station to take a taxi into the reserve.
Okay, we have the taxi.
You have a taxi?
Yeah.
Is this the Jarawa road?
Jarawa Road. Yeah.
Do you see them?
Yeah. Some people do that, no? Give biscuit, take the pictures, something like this, you know. Just looking the game, you know.
Yeah.
People, just like the entertainment.
Entertainment?
Yes, yeah. One is a police jeep in the front. The speed limit is 40 kilometers.
At the edge of the reserve, we had a police checkpoint. Security around the tribe's land had been massively increased, after tons of videos hit YouTube showing tourists filming the human safari. New law has made even taking photos illegal, and as soon as they saw me filming, I was denied access.
Permission permitted.
What? Permission. My only option was to return to Port Blair and book myself onto an official tour for the following day. I booked a ticket to the Baratan Caves in the north of the island. The route would take us directly through the Jarawa Reserve. After hours of driving along dirt roads, we reached another checkpoint at the edge of the reserve. Dozens of buses lined the road, full of tourists all eager to take part in the human safari.
Did you see Jarawa?
After this, by bus we go and we can see.
This time I had to register myself as an official tourist and return to the bus to start the safari. We entered the reserve. The whole bus began staring into the rainforest, hoping to see the tribe. Suddenly, the bus stopped and the driver started talking to me in Hindi.
Do you understand?
Not a word.
No camera. Camera will be inside the pocket, inside the bag.
Ah, okay. So I have to put away. As we were leaving the reserve, I managed to get reactions from the proud tourists.
They have kind of weapons.
Two Jarawas.
This is like someone driving, you know, having a bus route suddenly come through your back garden and people looking out and pointing and chucking sweets at your children every day. You wouldn't want that.
Did you do the tour to see the Jaras?
Yes, yes. I wanted to see the Andaman tribe people. It's a very interesting tribe.
How many did you see today?
One family, one man, a woman, and child.
The cops themselves are involved. You pay this much amount to the police guys and they will take you to have an interaction with the tribe. One policeman, he was sitting and enjoying the dance while some other person was taking a video. And based on that clip, since the face was clearly exposed and the uniform was exposed, the Andaman administration and the police department could not deny that their men are not involved. They don't have this feeling of protecting the tribes. It is like for them, they get a monthly salary and it is a punishment for them to stay inside the forest and keep a watch. So they drink, they smoke. Instead of trying to accept that the indigenous people of the Andaman Islands, they are the real owners of the islands. Instead of knowing their tradition, culture and appreciating that, we have made them as a tourist attraction. Thousands of tourists, they travel every day just to see them as animals in a safari park.
So although the Indian government strongly denies the existence of human safaris, there are hundreds of tourists traveling through the Jarawa reserve every single day. The promise of the local tour operators is simple. Pay your money and we will grant you intimate access to one of the most endangered tribes on the planet. Jaras are nothing more than a commodity, exploited by the very same people who claim to be protecting their future.
One small mistake and the entire tribe is extinct.